Welcome to the Natural Genius podcast. We're here to help you tap into your natural genius. Let's go. Rosalinda Batson, or Roz, is one of the people in life that I admire so much for her communication. She effortlessly is kind, compassionate, and curious about others. She's a complete joy to be on a committee with, seeing how she strategically thinks and directs things and keeps things moving, sensing into how to make things progress, while at the same time being able to have people heard and considered. I've been lucky enough to know her since 2000, where we met at a Young Australian Leaders conference that was a big deal at Sydney University in Australia, and she's always had this dynamism and spark and love of life and joy and ease of laughter. She's a complete joy to be around. It's been a pleasure to observe her, and as a feminist and a woman doing a Masters of Gender Studies early on in our friendship, and then to see her as a wife, and then as children came along, and as her and her husband John grew their neural networks business into the success over the years that it's gone on to be. They've taught a lot of people about authentic relationships and courageous living, and Roz has created so many ripple effects across cricket and in our ski club up at Mount Hotham in Australia, and with her children and with women in cricket, and with her family. So without further ado, enjoy hearing the wicked, smart, fun, wise woman that is Rosalinda Batson. My dear friend, Rosalinda Batson, it's an absolute joy to have you on the Natural Genius podcast. Welcome.
Thanks so much, Sam. It's really, really lovely to be here.
So lovely. I was thinking as I prepared for this that it's easy for you and I to remember how long we've known each other, because we met in 2000 amongst 100 other chosen Australian young leaders, which was an absolutely extraordinary experience. And
it was.
Yeah, I wanted you to tap into the start of our friendship, and I wondered what you might reflect on having learnt, or what shaped you from that experience.
What shaped me from that experience? Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, all that comes to mind when I think about that experience, not all, but was you and your funky haircut, super cool little, you were the consultant from KPMG. I was like, wow. I was just a little team leader working in IT in local government at the time, if I remember rightly.
I remember, can I interrupt? I remember the sassy, very wise woman from Melbourne City Council.
Oh my goodness, and like Andrew the cartoonist and Joe. Oh my goodness.
Must get him on this podcast.
I think so. It was really remarkable, wasn't it? When you think back to what they did, a whole week live-in immersive experience for young people, where you learn about the economy, you learn about the environment, you learn about social issues, domestic violence. That was how powerful that woman who got set on fire by her husband, to be there Yeah, and then the homeless gentleman who came and explained the difference between hard and soft concrete. I mean, that stuck with me forever. You know, you walk through the city and you see homeless people, and I always stop and have a look at the concrete and think, oh, is that the hard or the soft concrete that they're sleeping on? I mean, that was 25 and a half years ago, and it still crosses my mind. So, look, I don't know about what shaped me. I'm sure there was many things, but I think it was just, it rounded you out. Like, it made you see the connection between everything and the importance of knowing what you stand for.
I remember 8 of us breaking out into our groups at different times through that week. And there was one moment where we had to create the vision for Australia, and then I think to do a few other things for Australia. And even just within our group of 8, we realised how tough it was to be able to get consensus. And values and other things like that. Yeah, I love hearing that.
Kind of plan, didn't we? Yeah.
And when you were talking about what you remember of that experience, I thought you were going to say standing on the tables at Sydney Uni and singing the Australian anthem.
Oh, I know that was your favourite thing. I thought I would leave it for you to say.
Well, that's a beautiful lead-in, because I wanted to talk about telepathy. You and I have developed, actually, I was going to say developed, but we've had this growing telepathy with each other, or this telepathy with each other through the years, where we can kind of sense into what's happening for each other, and often we'll call each other at different times. Tell me, are you interested? Do you develop that with others? I'm sure, I wonder if you have it. You must have it with your family as well. What's your thoughts on telepathy these days?
I find that I have it with random people, certainly not just with everyone. And I don't know if I've got it necessarily with my family. Now that you've said that, I'm
chosen family over here.
Yeah, look, I definitely have some form of connection with my mum, as you well know, that, I generally can get a pretty good sense if I'm paying enough attention. Sometimes you get caught up in the day-to-day, but yes, I can generally get a set read on when she may need a little phone call, and you know how stoic she is, so not often. And I've got some other friends that I certainly know that I get this little spidey sense that I need to give them a call.
Yes.
But it's not a lot of people, no.
Yeah. It's not always support. I can sort of sense in with you, like a little sort of fun, fun bubbles or something.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
I think,
you're right. It's positive as well. Like, those moments where there's something to share or something exciting's happened. I've
really enjoyed the Telepathy Tapes podcast that I got onto through Rick Rubin's Tetragrammatron podcast, where the producer was the best. Like, he's such a great interviewer because he gets quiet and after asking profound questions. The Telepathy Tapes, I think, helps to make mainstream telepathy and that intuitive knowledge between people, and that it can happen across the world and doesn't necessarily need to be face to face. I just love that there's more findings around things like that these days.
Well, you've reminded me too that often, and I know that a lot of other coaches would probably say this as well, that when you're in a coaching session with someone, you sometimes get this little nudge to say something or to ask a particular question. And, call that what you will. It could be intuition, it could be just experience, but, also sometimes I feel like it is a bit more than that. But there's a question that this person needs to be asked or something they need to hear.
It's so wonderful you said that, because more and more, so you and I are in a similar situation. I think are we in our 3rd decade of work now? And I feel like I look back on business plans and strategy work that I've done in the past, and because I started doing it quite early and I had this business acumen, I really do feel like it was intuition and instinct.
Mm.
How could it have been anything else? Because I didn't have the business experience in my first decade. So I really do look back on coaching sessions and strategy work with that. There was that inner knowing or that kind of sense that just came through, which
Yeah.
is polite because we sort of just, I don't know, there was a Elizabeth Gilbert, her first TED Talk, which was fantastic, and she's gone on to more recently develop some of these ideas and go deeper into them. And she talked about in previous generations there was less of the I and me, and it was much more about spirit coming in, and we did do this together, and it was spirit coming through me to create this poetry or create this piece of art. And yeah, I like that. I like thinking that there's sort of that extra wider kind of intuitive force that helps us.
Yeah.
It's speaking of intuitive people, your beautiful daughter. I wanted to talk about that amazing experience that has really stuck with me. That I heard you talk about pulling up one of her guides at her school about her not having a plan B when she
Oh, yeah.
was going for being the
Yeah.
captain of the Australian women's cricket. And
Yeah.
I loved how you're great at storytelling, so perhaps you can tell the story. I loved how you were propelled to say something.
Yeah, yes. So I think she was quite young. I think it might have been year 8. So what would that have made her, 13 or something along those lines? And she adored her homeroom teacher. She absolutely adored him, and he was a really delightful, lovely man. I do feel a little bit that perhaps I was a bit harsh. Yeah, she was very put out. But he had everybody write up a goal. And put it up on the wall. Got the kids to do goal setting, and she said that yes, she wanted to be. I think she was actually even at that stage she'd kind of scaled back from being the captain of the Australian women's cricket team to just playing WBBL for the Melbourne Stars. And he said to her, "Oh, Alana, so that that's fantastic that you've got that goal, but let's spend some time thinking about what Plan B might be. Like if that's not what you can." Achieve, let's put a plan B in. And I remember her coming home to me and kind of going, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else I would do. Like, how can I even think about this? I've got no idea what else I would do. And I just thought, oh my goodness, like she's year 8. Let her have it. Let her have that goal and that dream. Because if it is something that she wants to achieve, she can't be half-hearted about it. She's got to give it her absolute all. And as she grows older and matures and experiences more, then she will naturally work out a plan B, because life knocks you around already. You don't need it when you're young to have it beaten into you. It certainly comes along in its own way as the years go on. So I kind of said to him, I said, just can you have a think about what you just did? Because it totally crushed her. This is a man that she admired, that she loved, and he's told her that her goal is a little bit too aspirational. I said, if she wants that, she can't afford to have a plan B. And it really floored her. And yeah, I did have to let him know that I felt that he should have perhaps reconsider how he goes about his goal setting. And if somebody has something really big, hairy and audacious, then back him.
Gosh, I love that, Ros. Yeah, I mean, you taught me. This was a few years ago. I heard this story, and
Yeah.
it's really stayed with me because I possibly would have been one of those coaches in the past that would be saying, "Let's do the plan B." But I love that you just really got that single-minded focus around achieving something big.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what's step one? What do we need to be doing now to move us forward? Anyway,
tell me about. I wanted to hear these days what you're most proud of, my dear friend.
Oh, proud of. Oh, so much. Oh, I feel so Yeah, so fortunate. I'm proud of my kids, both my kids. I really am. Great little human beings, and can't say that I had, everything to do with that. They come in with their own stuff and who they are, and you just do the best you can, which wasn't always great, but did the best I could as a parent. And so I'm really proud of my kids. Yeah, I'm really proud of them. Absolutely 100%. I look now at the business that John and I started 25 plus years ago, and I feel really proud of many of the things that we've done over those years. I've really started to get a much better comprehension of just how just how impressive it actually is when I look at the group of people that work together and have worked together for such a long time to create such great outcomes for our clients, and not just like it goes beyond the work that we do with them. The ripple effects everywhere is really quite considerable when you're working with people and their emotional intelligence. So I'm really proud of our business now. I think I always used to think of us as this little little boutique little thing. But now I think, no, hang on a minute. We've done some really incredible stuff over the years. Some really big projects, some little ones, some with large impacts, some not so much. I think we've done some really great work. So I'm really proud of that. And personally, I'm really proud of myself because I published a book last year, and I wanted to be an author since I was a little girl. So I'm really proud that I got over myself and put it out there, and I've got another one on the way that should be done in the next few months. So I'm really proud of that, and I'm really proud that my skiing got better last season as well, that I finally built a whole lot more confidence in my skiing. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Here's to that. Oh, what an adventure. And
did I miss anything, Sam? Is there anything else I should be proud of?
Oh gosh, darling, this is for you to say. I think that you have so much to be proud of, from all the close friendships you've got, the lovely relationships you've got with your family, as well as all that you've said, and to observe you and John. I've been lucky enough to be able to see you both through the years grow your business and grow your family.
And see a little bit behind the curtain.
And, well, I mean, I don't know, my dear friends, I feel behind the curtain, in front of the curtain, around the curtain, it's all like, that's life. It's all, it's all very integrous. One of the things I did wonder as I was preparing for this was how, because you did gender studies, and I was lucky enough to read your master's thesis, and
one of 3 people.
Yeah, well, I mean, lucky me. One of 3. VIP. And I wondered how, if now that you can reflect on having adult children, how has motherhood and being a wife changed or influenced your perspective on being a feminist?
Yeah, such a great question. It was really interesting because in the thick of motherhood, I really felt like I lost my fire for feminism, because you're just so, the cognitive load's really high, and you're just doing what you do to get through. Like, you're working, you're raising kids, like running a business, and then how crazy I got with all my volunteer work.
Exactly, there we are.
So it's kind of, I really recognised it, and I always have felt really driven to write, and I didn't know what to write about. I still feel like that a little bit, but I always feel really compelled to write, like just write. I should just be writing. That's what I always feel like. And I ran out of things to write about because I lost my fire around feminism. But now that the kids are grown up and on the verge of adulthood, my fire's back, and I think that I navigated motherhood as well as I could as a feminist in the 21st century. Certainly in our house, the division of labour is not traditional, which is great. And also, I mean, you well know my husband is an amazing parent, and he's probably more involved with the kids than I am now. I've kind of done the whole drop the mic. I've done my job. Yeah. Whereas he's still there
You
checking in
so
on them.
surprised me. I don't know whether I believe you on that.
Talk to the kids. Yeah, Dylan will need he'll need his car to get serviced. I don't know, whatever. John's like, he's organising all of that. I'm like, okay. Dylan needs some appointment with some specialist. I don't know. John's organising that. I just get told when Dylan might show up at home again. I go, oh, okay, is he coming back? Oh, good. Because he doesn't live with us, obviously. So yeah, I'm just, yeah, it's delightful. I'm just friends with my kids now. I don't have to. It's absolutely delightful. So yes, my feminist. Yes, it's my feminism is back on the radar, and I've got a project that I'm hoping to get stuck into this year.
Can you give us the top line? Like, how might you have thought about feminism 25 years ago to now?
Well, I mean, I prefer to go back further. Let's talk about 40 years ago when I was a teenager. Yes, I'm showing my age. And I was a radical feminist back then. And now, compared to now, the radicals dropped off, which a lot of people might be thankful for. But I believe that. I don't know. Actually, that has its own whole podcast. But at this point in time, to put it in a nutshell, I think that it's really important that everybody builds their emotional self-awareness and their understanding of human beings, and that once you start to accept that we are all humans and that we have more in common than we do differences, then you can start to say, well, why wouldn't I allow somebody else to self-actualize? Because, I mean, I think the suppression of women, particularly in other cultures, obviously in Western cultures is much more subtle, but, it comes down to them not allowing that person to self-actualize. And as one human being to another, why would we prevent that? So my two big projects as a headliner are, one is a leadership book, which I'll hopefully release by the end of Q1 26, which is really focused on emotional self-awareness, understanding your map of the world so you can understand other people's maps of the world, and teaching some human communication techniques so you can actually change how you are interacting with other people so that you can be a better leader. And then, I mean, the roll-on effects of that into other parts of people's lives and is hopefully huge. That's what my dream is. I always think that we're like these little spiky balls, and it's like how one spiky ball comes up against another spiky ball. Like, do we click in and connect, or do our spikes hit each other? And so, it's coming to understand, well, what is my spiky ball? What is it? What is it made up of? And then understanding what somebody else's might be made up of, so that you can create a better, more genuine connection. I've got this really incredible quote, and I'm going to misquote it, but it's one of my colleagues, Lucy, and it's in my book. She says, considering that we're all human beings, I find it really strange how little we understand each other.
Oh.
Isn't that cute? I just think it's gorgeous.
So cute. So your book's going to help with that?
Supposedly, yes. That's the goal. That's the plan.
I love that. This moment is about your natural genius. If there's a spark within you that wants to develop a lighter way, a clearer signal to achieve more, I'd like to work with you one-on-one. If you're after inspired direction in what you have to give, get in touch with me via our website, naturalgenius.com.au. Now back to the natural genius. I remember early in our friendship, I didn't even know that I was a feminist, and you said, I just assumed, having studied engineering and been around, slight difference in the ratio of men to women in my life.
Yeah.
and then also being in consulting, and one of the first projects I worked on was the listing on the stock exchange of a finance company. So it was pretty high profile, pretty secretive. 9 out of 10 were men to one woman. I remember riffing with you one time, and it was like, I just
I'm
think
a little
that
bit scared right now of what you've remembered.
Oh, darling heart. Oh, God. Please let me never scare you. But I remember me saying everyone's equal, other than physically. Like, we're pretty much, I just want everyone to have an equal go. And you said, "Oh, Sammy, you're a feminist," and I was like, "Oh, I don't know enough about what that means." Good old 90s. And even now, like, because I'm not in feminist circles, I don't use that word very often. I really just feel like I'm a humanist. So do you feel like the word feminist still has its place? Or from what you just talked about with self-actualization of others, tell me more, like, with that as a little lead in.
Well, you made me realise that I've actually come a bit further than that because, I used to, back in the 90s with you, would be saying, yes, we are all equal. We should all be treated equal. But I've actually come up with, over time, I've discovered a better term, which is parity, which is about creating parity because so many systems and structures actually work against women. So it's not about being equal because we don't have an equal playing field. So you need to change it so that there's parity between people, which I feel is a really interesting distinction. Do I still think there is a place? I think there's a place for any term that you like to use as part of your identity. So, I identify as a feminist. I think there's room for that, whether in terms of the goal being changing people's perspectives and behaviours is a personal term. I don't know. I'll see.
I feel like so many terms, it's lovely the way you said it just then, whatever works for you, which, I mean, that is self-actualization, part of self-actualization. It is part of each individual having both the right and also the wherewithal to decide what works for them. And as we talk about natural genius, I'm all about how to make that channel as clear as possible. So speaking of that, my dear friend, I want to ask you a few questions about what you love to see in life and visions for the future and things like that. But firstly, I wanted to ask you, how do you keep your volunteer hours reasonable, my friend? Tell me about tips around that, because you have created so many ripple effects through your business and through your children and through who you are in the world, and masses of volunteer hours. You must feel so proud about what you've done for cricket and more recently our amazing ski club at Hotham. How do you balance it? Do you just sort of feel like it's all activities to be done through the day and through the week? Or do you try and cap it? Is there any tips that you've learnt over the years?
Well, the first tip is if you're somebody who says yes to volunteering, make sure you also have no in your vocabulary. That took me a while to learn. So there was one.
Can we just rewind that and just say it for anything? Make sure you've got no in your vocabulary, people. You are a wise woman.
Oh, I tell you, there was one cricket season where I had 4 cricket volunteer jobs. That was probably a little bit too many. That was probably a bit too many.
Give me an example. What were the hats that you were wearing? What were the 4?
I was a board member for Cricket Southern Bayside. I was the chair of the all-girls cricket competition. I was a member of the women's competition, the senior women's comp. I was on the admin team for that, and I was junior coordinator at my local cricket club. Oh, and I was coaching a junior girls cricket team. Yeah, probably a little bit insane. But it all kind of wrapped in together. I'm blessed because I'm self-employed. So I would find that if I had, sometimes you have those half hours which aren't enough time to do much of anything in
Yes.
between coaching calls or meetings, and you're like, well, if I get started on something, I'm not going to be able to finish it. So I would find those little moments were really handy to quickly check the emails and shoot some off. But because I'm self-employed, no one's really monitoring my email activity. So if I'm jumping between you know what I mean? Like if I'm jumping between my work email and my volunteer email, people
Indeed.
aren't too fussed. I do always do my best to make sure that I do not have volunteer emails coming to my work email. So I may, use my Gmail account for that. I find that a really important way to set your boundaries. And also I made it very clear to a lot of people that I'm not really good at taking calls, but text me. Because people would ring me during the day and I'm like,
oof,
no chance.
yes.
And as most people do, my car was my office. You drive to and from work, and that's when you make all your phone calls. So yeah, and that often worked for the other volunteers that I'd be talking to because they're finishing off work at 5:30 and then we're both having a quick chat on the way home from work. So, that worked quite well. Also, too, I got really good at delegating, really good at it because, that's often the issue is that you take on too much yourself. Whereas if you have 10 people all doing one little job, it's better than one person doing 10 jobs when it comes to volunteering.
Well, and Ros, I've got to get ready for some sunshine. I've got to acknowledge that you are amazing at building sweet culture, like sweetness between people. And so I wonder if in volunteer situations, part of like your number one ripple effect is that you can help to create that collegiate collaboration between people. And I know that I haven't worked on all these committees with you.
Yeah.
I do notice as a observer of your work and your volunteer work that that ability to be objective and kind and respectful between parties and you, it's just such a thrill to observe. It's something that I've so much admired in my dear friend. And
that's really touching, Sam. Yeah. And I'm really sitting here like listening because it's not often that you get feedback on how you're perceived by others unless you do like a 360. So it's, I mean, for one, it's delightful to get such positive feedback, but really interesting to sort of, for me to think about what you may have observed as compared to what I experience. Like, yeah, that's really intriguing. But
many phone conversations that we've had.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, you're great at telling a story. So to be able to sort of sometimes hear about your relationships with different team members that you're working with in volunteer situations, and also more recently the two of us being on the committee for our ski club. I think your strengths and your communication and your desire to be kind to others or be loving but also objective and get stuff done in a good direction. I think it's one of your many traits that leads to your success.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I do love getting stuff done. No two ways about it. I do love a little project, love ticking things off the list, and then seeing the outcome. But I love seeing other people. I don't know if it's not all, it's not about me, all about me. I love seeing other people work together. I did have an experience with one of my committees, which is just, I mean, such a lovely gentleman said this, and I'm sure that if I ever told him that it still sits with me, he'd be horrified. He's such a kind man. But we had someone new join our committee, and they kind of said, oh, well, so how does it work? And I said, oh, well, look, obviously I'm chair, and so I, kind of oversee things, but, we all have our responsibilities and we just check in with each other. And this guy turned around and he goes, yeah, we're a pretty loose unit. I'm going to say it was one of the most high-functioning, effective committees I've been on, because I've been on a few kindergarten committees, childcare committees, you name it. And
Oh my God, it
I
sounds
was like,
so Australian. It's like
yeah, we're a bit of a loose unit.
a loose unit.
And I thought there must be a name for what I'm doing. And so I did, I Googled it, and it's called Distributed Autonomous Organisation.
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, this was, I don't know, 3-4 years ago that this gentleman said that, and it sort of stuck with me. And then I was talking to a friend of mine who's at RMIT, and he was talking about Deo, and I was like, oh, I was ahead of my time.
Yeah, yes. And I've been such a supporter of that for years, because I think I've noticed about myself, having worked in high performance situations, that I need to work around people that are autonomous, and we can just all do what we're great at doing and get on with it and communicate well with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was another conversation I had recently, and it was about giving space, being kind to give space to people, both in conversation in meetings, but also in terms of around what they're good at and what they're doing. And I think that loose unit.
Yeah, I know.
So great.
I think he said it with like a little bit of love in his heart. Like, I think he was saying it kind of affectionately. He was such a nice man, but I was like, loose unit. That's how he sees this shit that I'm running. But yeah, and look, and it probably extends to the way that I run neural networks consulting. Like, I just, everybody does their work, and everyone's got their talents and expertise, and that's what we all work together.
Yes. Oh, so beautiful, Ros. Do you have any tips for leaders and business owners, especially in the world of EI and EQ, around emotional intelligence? What sort of things do you see these days, and that you might wish to pass on?
Oh, okay. Number one, I always say that the greatest thing that anyone can do is manage their emotional state. That's number one. And close. Oh, look, I can't actually do a list. I think it needs to be on the same level, that you also need to understand your map of the world. You know, what is the frame of reference that you're using all the time for everything that you evaluate, and how? Because then then the next thing is curiosity. Like, that is curating curiosity would have to be one of the most critical things that people need right now. Having that curiosity about other people and how they operate, I would say, is another one. And trusting people to do their work. And what I actually will, I'm doing a webinar about this in March, but one of the things that we've really seen, particularly since the psychosocial legislation has come out, is a lot of what we are calling the leadership freeze. People are a little bit afraid to have conversations with their team because they're worried as to how it might land or how it might come across. Fair. So then what skills do you need to develop in order to be able to open conversations in a way where there is no risk, right? And then what beliefs do you hold about yourself or about those conversations that then holds you back? And having a look at those.
Oh gosh, Ros, you all must be doing such great work in that space. It sounds like support is needed with a big alarm. Oh wow. The curiosity comment really had me thinking there. Another conversation I had recently was about we came up with micro agility as a kind of a term, and when you said curious, I thought you were going to talk about the speed and AI and things like that, staying curious, because that helps for people to learn new tech and to integrate what's useful to them in their lives. And this term micro agility was about, let's take briefing an AI agent, for example. You brief it, and then you don't necessarily always know what's going to come back. And so you're staying agile with what comes back, and then working with that. I feel like I think about AIs as like the world's constantly getting more and more information from all different sources and learning from that. And so what Ros prompts it today at this time versus tomorrow or a month later or whatever, always different and possibly different in different location. So being curious and having, like, being ready to roll with things, that ability, it feels like it's a curiosity and that micro agility is useful these days, because like when I was teaching social media 20 years ago, that it's so similar, Roz. Like, it just feels, I've so experienced people's fear around new tech.
Yes.
And I really, to this day, my empathy is there, and my desire to see them stay open and
yes,
and be curious, because we all know the story of social media. So many people were like, no, not touching that, years ago. And then slowly parts of digital, if you talk more generally, not just social media, is integrated into our lives. And I remember seeing my mum starting to use ABC radio app on her iPad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, see, I never would have guessed that that's what would have been useful to her 4 years ago. But that's one of her ins, to be able to get more and more into using digital.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think you and I are on the same page with this. Like, if you see it as fearful, it'll be fearful. So, yeah, I think cultivating curiosity helps you on lots of levels, doesn't it? To be open.
Other than writing books, of which I hope in my lifetime I get to see you publishing and distributing many.
Yes, me too.
Speed that up, my friend. I want to read what you have to say.
Yes. Well, the EQ for Leaders, Coaches and Changemakers is already out there. Very practical.
That will be linked in the show notes.
Yes, but my next one, I've set out a schedule to have it done by the end of Q1. So
great, darling.
Let's see if that how that comes to be.
Tell me about your other aspirations these days, Roz.
Mindset program for female athletes. Got that brewing. I have determined, in line with, like, similar to my master's thesis, I guess. I from having coached junior girls cricket for a number of years, I do see that girls and boys at this point in time are quite different as to how they come to their sport in terms of their mindset. And so, I've designed a program, a mindset program for female athletes, primarily cricketers, because that's the sport that I know so well. But that's where I'm going to start this year, getting into that space and seeing what effect I can have. With young women. We'll see. Although I do have a friend with a son who needs some help with the mental side of the game. For him, I won't discriminate. I will, of course, provide assistance there. Very excited about that. Actually, very excited about. I'm very I'm just gonna. You're gonna have to cut this because it's all gonna be. I'm excited. I'm excited.
God, darling, of course.
Yeah. Love to
get. What other aspirations do you have, and do any of them involve white stuff?
Yes. Well, with my husband about to go to Japan with my son, and me stupidly saying that I would stay home with our daughter, I am 100% planning on doing a trip overseas in early 27. I think actually my husband's laid it down to the kids. He doesn't care what they're doing. In February 27, we're going to a European ski resort. So
great.
As a family. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about how you reflect on your skiing history these days, because I've been with you through that whole experience, delightfully so.
God. No,
and you and one other friend, I've told you this.
Needed to.
You and one other friend, I've always found the most courageous skiers, because you really have had to break so often through fear
Yes.
barriers.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
been scary. And sometimes I do notice in women who are skiing after they've had children, it's sometimes really, it's a really different experience. It requires a lot of courage to get up
Yeah.
on skis.
Yeah. And, you know, there's nothing that really, for me in my life, really compared. Like, if we think about the sports that I did, I was a swimmer and I was a cricket player and I ran a lot, as you know.
And warm climates.
And warm climates. I was a beach baby.
Mm.
That's right. Give me that beach holiday, honey. And so then, yeah, when the kids were little and my husband's saying, I want my kids to learn how to ski, I'm like, what about your wife? Because this is going to be awful. Yes, and thank goodness I had my gorgeous friend Sam Bell, who countless. Do you know, there's such. I know I've told you this story, but everybody needs to hear it. There was this unbelievable moment where I can't tell you how many times you did the green runs with me, over and over again, with me sweating and panicking and nearly crying, and like, oh my God, holy heck, and whatever. And I remember the day where you finally got me down into the valley, and I sat at the little food place down the bottom of the valley going, wow, there's a whole other world down here. Like, I've only ever been at the top of the mountain on the green run, and here I am in this valley, and there's all these other people and all these other runs, and oh my goodness, didn't realize. And I said, I think I just need to sit down. Like, it took everything to get down those blue runs. And I was like, I just need a little sit down. And you were like, oh, do you mind if I just go up and have one quick run? I'm like, of course, you go, you know. And I sat there and I spent the whole time like looking out which run is she going to come down, where's she going to come. And then I finally saw you and I was, you looked beautiful. And you just skied with such ease and like these perfect turns, and you were so fast. And I was like, what is she doing spending all this time with me on those green runs? I was like, my God, she cannot do this anymore. Like, it's just wrong. She should be gunning it down every single run she can.
Oh, right. I think, as you well know, skiing for me is such a combination. I feel like it's such a beautiful, beautiful sport because we can constantly get better and constantly learn things.
Yes.
I have completely delighted in seeing the kids learn and how they go from kids that push along a little cart and those moments when they're really little where they get to like feel like they can push a cart and look after themselves when they're not, you know, this is not even skiing, but then when you see them going down their run on skis when they're little and they start to like the glee of being able to choose where they can go is magnificent. And then I mean, this was always going to be an episode that was professing love for each other, my darling. The chairlift, and you've always been so kind and generous with how I've been patient with you, and also spending time together is part of skiing for me. Like you and I being able to have a kind of road trip conversation.
We had so many, and then you'd have to get back on the chairlift to continue the conversation, and then go back again to finish.
And isn't that the pleasure of one of the many pleasures of our friendship, that we can talk about emotional intelligence, self-actualisation? It was just so fortunate to meet 26 years.
Absolutely.
Well,
those chairlift rides over those years, Sam, were absolutely remarkable. I mean, for one, it meant that I had time to slow my heart rate and but also, all the conversations, like they're all flashing through my mind right now, just all of those different conversations over the different years. Like also too, because, I'd talk to you about the kids and my parenting and what might be going on there. And I'd talk to you about my relationship and I'd talk to you about work. And then you're talking to me about your work and your life and, and your relationship with your nephew and, how, you're taking care of him and when he was at the snow and stuff, like just all the topics. So many. I must say skiing is really unique like that. It's individual, but then there's such a strong sense of community, like an incredible sense of community. It's
absolutely
quite remarkable.
Yeah, I think especially if you choose the location that you go to and if you go back there regularly like we have over the years.
Mm. Mm.
And yeah, I think that one time you said to me, this is such a great sport because it keeps our family together as the
Mm.
kids become adults. And I love that.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and you would love this. That nowadays, every so often I'll get onto the Instagram reels, and no surprise, all I get is one skiing video after another, and I'm constantly sending them to the kids
Me too. Yeah, me too.
because they get it. Yeah, and
Oh
yeah,
gosh, it's
yeah, and
so
I
great.
think for sure that we will always have ski trips together. Yeah.
Oh, well said.
Mm.
Well, that feels like a really easy close for the two of us, darling. I just so appreciate a conversation with you where we can go through so many topics. It was always
Yeah,
going to be that. As I said, it was always going to be a love fest.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate it, Sam. It's so lovely just to talk and laugh and yeah, thank you.
Many more to come. Thanks for listening to the Natural Genius podcast. Please share this with anyone who came to mind and visit us at naturalgenius.com.au. Thanks so much.